It's time for the Unnamed SWTOR podcast, a podcast so good it doesn't need a name. So without any further ado, here's your host, JD. Take it away, Johnny.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 53 of the Unnamed SWTOR podcast, recorded on July 26th, 2014. I am not your host, JD, aka Gaddock Teague. Instead, I will be introducing Redna of UtiniCast. That's right, myself. I will be guesting on today's episode, and we will talk about the public test server, as well as my thoughts concerning playing House and the new tactical Flashpoint. I'm also going to talk about the new achievements on the server that tie everything within 2.9 and the rest of the game together. All this and a fresh idea off the wall o' crazy. With all that being said, let's force leap right in.
Red 2, I've got a topic coming in hot requesting clearance to engage. Lock S-foils in attack positions, you are cleared to discuss.
So this week, the devs released onto the public test server expansion 2.9, which also includes the free unpaid expansion of the Galactic Strongholds. Anybody that might have been listening to me on UtiniCast knows that I haven't really been big into the whole Galactic Stronghold notion. It's something, though, that has been slowly growing on me. To my chagrin, I was really harsh against it originally, but as I started to see these live streams, which JD has been talking about, I've also gotten kind of tickled by the idea of what might be available. So, naturally, as soon as this was available on the public test server, I had to go ahead and upgrade my test server patches and everything. I decided to wait until Friday night because, of course, I wanted to play. With the Gree being around this week, there's been some distraction, but I decided I had to sacrifice some of my achievement hunting for the Gree in order to pursue the information on the public test server. I'm going to have to say I have not been that disappointed. I think a lot of people want this incredible free-form experience for galactic housing, and I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's something that is really that necessary. People can go play Minecraft if they want to make whatever they can in this incredible sandbox environment. This is much more of a traditional MMO, and I'm genuinely impressed with the extent. Some of the nuances that I really didn't anticipate when it came to galactic housing, such as we'd been seeing on these streams that there were all sorts of different layouts for the hooks. Now, I thought that you had to make a choice. They said that you couldn't stack items. It turns out that when you see one of these layouts and it's got this purple square and then a bunch of little green squares on the inside, well, that purple square itself is a hook that you can put a really large item on. Some of the larger items actually are like tents or objects that have 4 legs, but then they stand well off the ground. Those green hooks then can also be utilized to put smaller objects underneath objects that are on the large purple hook. I think this is really awesome. You can't directly take one object and place it upon another, but it does enable you to actually play around with that field a bit more. It gives some depth and three-dimensionality. Even though you might not have control over the Z-axis, you certainly do over X and Y, as well as being able to rotate objects. I think that this is a really nice implementation. It makes it a lot easier. Games like Rift, that other people have talked about, that have these incredible sandbox environments, there's a huge learning curve. In my game of Star Wars, in order for me to even be remotely interested in this, I don't want to have to relearn a game that really doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the game. Galactic Starfighter being an exception. Who doesn't want to fly an X-Wing? But at the same time, I don't want to have to learn as much as I did to get good at Galactic Starfighter as I do to play House, to put objects out there. I want to be able to earn a bunch of objects and sure, maybe make this place look pretty neat, especially with this key system, which I also got to play around with. The only caveat is, you definitely cannot, even if you've got people in your stronghold from the opposite faction, you can't give them keys to any of your strongholds unless you're on the same faction. But that's fine. You can give those silver keys and they can get into your stronghold whether or not you're online, and you can be on opposing factions and opposing characters and be able to swap it out. It's very neat. Which leads me to actually my first little rant, which I'm sure everybody disagrees with me, but it irks the heck out of me. I play on a PvP server. I am on the Bastion. I don't play on a PvE server because I've been there and I've done that. Originally, I was on a PvP server for WoW. I know I'm not supposed to talk about this, but guess what? I'm the guest and there's no one else here to stop me. So, I played on a PvP server and I loved it. And I learned how to play that way. You know, sometimes you just got to put up with somebody maybe sitting on your head for a little while. You go away, you drink some coffee, you come back after 15 minutes, they've gotten bored and you go back about your business. Or if you're actually out in the world. I mean, these are massive, expansive planets. We've got tons of planets. It's not just one world that we're playing with Star Wars. They're planets, and I want reasons to go back to those planets and play on those planets, even when I'm at max level. It shouldn't just be a leveling experience. And if I run across somebody, I want to be able to stomp their face in. I feel like having been on a PvE server, when I gave up and lost out on the PvP experience, yeah, sometimes there's annoyances that come with it, but to deliberately cut yourself off from a massive aspect of this game because of a little bit of hassle with your leveling time, I've always found that a bit silly, and I get that some people want to play that way. It's just not something I understand. Well, the public test server should be open server. The whole purpose of the beta environment is that you should be testing all aspects of the game in order to find out what flaws might inherently occur. And the fact that the public test server is not this way is a huge drawback. Huge drawback. I'm not going to be able to test anything. And granted, this, which I ought to say, with this test server, we do not have any of the guild ships, and we don't have any of the world conquering established. Although we will be able to we have been able to get some information, which I'll talk about in the next segment. Nevertheless, my stronghold, I can have people of both factions in them. I don't know, and I can't test whether or not I'm going to be able to attack my friends who come into my stronghold from a different faction. A little bug, I'm assuming it's a bug, but it was a lot of fun. It turns out that when your companion is out, or is on another character, and they're a hologram in your stronghold, they can be attacked by the opposing faction. So, conceivably, if they don't fix this bug, which I kind of wish that they wouldn't, people can come in and kill your companion. And it's a dead hologram on the ground. It's actually kind of fun. You can damage the other person's stronghold. Now, granted, as soon as you put that companion up, swap it out, or presumably if you enter, I don't know, and maybe if the stronghold is empty, then if somebody comes in, it probably refreshes everything so they're not dead. But it's kind of a fun little flavor that you can actually interact with those hologram versions of your companions. I'm hoping that might actually be an indication also that you can, in point of fact, attack one another if you're on a PvP server. I would really like to create an obstacle environment within and I think JD talked about this. I'd like to be able to create an obstacle environment, a mini arena, if you will. Speaking of which, I did actually want to go further into the fact that within the Nar Shaddaa stronghold, those of you that have seen the live streams, it turns out that there is a location where you can put a very, very large, speeder or a sand crawler. It's a giant super hook. And it's on this platform that is separate from your Nar Shaddaa stronghold. I think they might have mentioned that you can't get out there. It's for decoration. Turns out, the spawn location into your stronghold, you're standing next to a taxi, and you're actually up high enough that you can run and jump onto that platform and get over there. No joke, I spent about an hour and a half dueling a friend on that little platform. It's beautiful. It's a giant circle, and if you run around and mess around with each other, you could accidentally knock someone, or maybe perhaps deliberately knock someone off the edge. It's a really, really neat little arena environment, and I'd love to be able to go in there, do some 4v4s. It would be a perfect place to do tournaments where you can actually look down. Everybody could get a bird's eye view of the arena fight as it occurs. 4 people, 2 teams of 4 go down there, and then you start out an arena. Somebody, calls it out, counts it down, whatever, but you're on opposing factions, and boom, there you go. You rock against one another. I just think it would be awesome. Anyway, moving on. Crafting. I'm a little bit disappointed, although I'm actually kind of encouraged by the way that the crafting works. It looks like you actually have to use more than one crafting in order to make some of these items. I'm disappointed because you're effectively crafting currency, and so you've got to get a bunch of different currencies crafted up in order to purchase items that you have quote-unquote made because you've made the currency. At the same time, it's actually a fairly elegant way to incorporate some of this, and maintain relevance. You know, certain items on certain crafters is probably going to become unbalanced, make people upset, whereas if all crafters are needed for all items because you need different, you know, components or currencies in order to make those purchases, that's probably a lot better balance and creates relevance across all crafting professions possible. So it's probably a better way. Of course, I'd like to be able to have my arms tech make a super giant laser gun that I could put out there, but at the same time, it totally makes sense, and this is probably a lot more relevant, a lot more useful. And I'll probably end up having to use all of my alts that I haven't been using for a long time, because it only takes the 3 that I need in order to do exactly what I want to make money off of the GTN. Interesting thing, the introduction quest. So I actually made multiple copies. Of course, I wanted to stockpile. I got around 200 million credits by copying my primary character over about 20 times, maybe more. But it did enable me to unlock every single one of the strongholds. And I will go ahead and say that I was shocked at how cheap the capital worlds were to unlock everything. I think it was a total less than 1 million credits to unlock every single room for Coruscant or Dromund Kaas. It was excellent. And Dromund Kaas is gorgeous. When you get in there and actually see the rain, it is mind-boggling. It's really, really, really cool. Dromund Kaas, really neat. But the funny thing is, after spending a lot of time crafting in there, I switched into Coruscant and realized, yeah, maybe that's the one we've previewed the most, but it was really nice. The lighting effects were wonderful. When you go outside, you see this beautiful sunset dusk type environment, and it's very Coruscant with all of the speeders flying by and taxi services and mass transportation, and it was very, very cool. Nar Shaddaa, of course, is Nar Shaddaa-esque, and there's also 2 balconies on the Nar Shaddaa one. You have to unlock to get there as a subscriber, but you can get all the way to the bottom, and there's a second balcony thing where it's actually like one large balcony, but it's got 3 doorways out onto 3 mini balconies, which is pretty neat. I like that. At any rate, if you take every single one of your companions and pick up the quest on the fleet, which, by the way, is in the crafting area of your fleet, there's a hologram right in the center on the inner ring of the outer ring section, or, well, inner ring of the crafting area. There's a hologram there that you talk to, which will give you your quest. You take that quest and you go to a stronghold and you get your reward. You can do this with every single one of your alts. You only have as many of an item as you have acquired. Doing this on every single one of your alts gets you more and more and more, and the rewards are like stacks. They're not individuals, so you can get a massive number of really good staples like chairs, beds, couches, just some real basic items, but can really help you to develop flavor for your stronghold. Beyond that, though, do it with everyone, because there's also achievements that tie into this, and you can start popping those achievements really quickly. The last one that I did go to, and I'm going to say this is my favorite. It's probably the most expensive, especially if you're a sub and you're getting 5 free with Nar Shaddaa, but Tatooine, amazing. Just amazing. When you first purchase it, you get the balcony that is in the cliff rock face overlooking what you can unlock down into the sand pit area. It's really neat, very unique, totally different layout than any of the other planets, and just amazing. You can stand on that balcony and see both of the rising suns along with the balloon floating through the sky, and it's just very, very, very well executed. So, to be frank, really impressed with what I experienced with Galactic Strongholds. I did find that the hook system worked really well. I kind of have to agree. I heard that there was a conversation on UtiniCast with Musco concerning whether or not you should left-click or right-click to do the hooks. At the end of the day, yeah, left-click. I'm in the left-click group. I really thought that going in there I would really feel much more comfortable with right-clicking. But it does turn out, because you don't need to run up to the hook and then click on it like every other object in the world, simply standing there and clicking on items, you tend to want to click that left click. Really nice. Also, pro tip, when you click a hook and then select an item, it shows you a picture of that item. In order to get the item onto the ground or onto the wall, you need to then click the button underneath the picture of the item, which is to place it. It's like a little confirmation button. Took me a while to figure that out. I was feeling like an idiot once I realized. The hook system's nice, though. I was able to put every single item down. I was a little disappointed. It doesn't look like my achievements, which I've got over, I think I'm over 22,000 at this stage for achievement points. And the crossover, they were saying, whatever you like to do, you're going to get tons of rewards from it. Well, it turns out that whatever you want to do is not exactly achievement hunting. Every single achievement I saw for achievement hunting is actually just wall paintings, not objects on the floor or in the room. Not a single one that I had anyway out of 22,000. Maybe for some of the Nightmare current content there is something special. It looks like their implementation is that you actually have to go back out into the world and redo things to get the items that you get to place out onto the floor, which is really, really disappointing. Having the same picture 2 different times, one with a silver border or one with a gold border, which is the difference between hard mode and nightmare mode, that was a little anticlimactic. Also, I discovered, talking with SWTOR Miner, that apparently in order to get the Datacrons, getting the table of Datacrons isn't from getting Lore Master. Like, what the heck? You actually have to go back out into the world, and apparently it's a clunky execution where you have to go back out in the world and you get components from existing Datacrons that you then go to a vendor in order to purchase, say, that Datacron to put into your stronghold. But if you want, you actually have to go out multiple times to get the multiple pieces in order to buy, say, the entire table, and then go back and get those pieces again in order to buy the individual Datacron. Really, really clunky, and why they couldn't have just given this to us straight out of our achievements, I don't understand. I mean, I suppose maybe they want to enable you to be able to get more than one of them, so you have to go out in the world and get that, but that's fine. Give me one for free for the achievement, or something a little bit unique. That gold border from the achievement, and then all the others, duplicates, multiples, or whatever, you can go back to those locations. But otherwise, no, I was very, very happy with the implementation. Also, I did get to do Manan, the Flashpoint Manan. I loved it. It was really, really, really cool. Just going in there, it was gorgeous. The graphics on there are really neat, are very well executed. It was great seeing cell casts all over the place. There was not too much trash. I was actually pleased by this. There wasn't too much trash so that you didn't feel... It's not like KDY where you just have to grind trash, and then there's a boss. It's actually just like 2 or 3 trash pulls, and then you can push a button or actually do a boss fight. There's more than one boss fight. The story was really neat. You get to see some good crossover. I'm not going to spoil any of that. But I was very happy. And I know a lot of people have been boo-hooing the fact that all we're getting is tactical flashpoints recently. I actually agree with JD, though, on this point. I think that tactical flashpoints, the way that they've been executing them and the way that they've been releasing them, I'm totally happy with. They are playing with new mechanics, new execution, new ways to do flashpoints. And you can see that. These are experiments. And with the most recent ones, they drive story, which is the most important thing for me, especially for the tactical flashpoints. And thank goodness, with these most recent ones, they haven't given us a rep on it. I don't want to rep on these. I want to experience that story and get through it. And it's really not about the gear or anything for these tacticals. I fully believe, mark my words, with the expansion, the reason we're getting all of these tacticals and we're not getting any hard modes, is they're not going to give us a single hard mode. And they're only going to be giving tacticals going forward at all. Tacticals are the way that you level up if you want to do flashpoints. Or hard modes will be what the tacticals become with the expansion. With the new level cap, they're going to need content that they can do hard modes in, and that's every single one of these tacticals that don't have a hard mode right now. And I think the only tactical that does have a hard mode in the game is CZ198, and you don't hear people even talking about that. So it'll be good. I wouldn't even mind if they upgraded CZ198 to level 60. I'm assuming it's going to be a 5-level cap. There's no reason to do more than 5. But we'll see. Manan was awesome. Actually, it was more awesome than I can even tell you, because I don't want to spoil anything, but they did some really, really cool stuff with it. Oh, whoops. Looks like I've got a queue pop. So, I'll be right back. Next, I'd really enjoy talking about achievements. Anyone that knows anything about me knows that I am big into achievements. My achievement score is a point of pride. I might not be as addicted to really grinding things out as some people are, but I do know that I'm more than likely in the top 5%. believe I'm very near 23,000. I said before over 22, but nearing 23. And I also know that I've got a couple achievements where I'm only 100 away, moments away from getting 100 per. So, the big question is, with this expansion, what's coming with achievements? And how do these achievements really tie in to your galactic stronghold? Now, we do know that there's going to be guild strongholds, and they're essentially exactly the same as your personal galactic stronghold. Guild can only own 1, you can own up to 4 at this time because there are only 4. Conceivably, there might be a limit of 4. We just have to wait and see. And that's about server performance issues and everything. Unless it becomes some crazy situation where they never give us another planet, I just can't see that happening. It's not hard for them to design the assets to put it down. It's all the mechanics and everything that leads into it that's a little bit more interesting for their developers, but that's pretty much done as soon as they fix the beta. There's some problems on the beta testing server, but nothing particularly major. At this stage, as far as I can tell, there are 0 achievements that tie into galactic strongholds for location, legacy, dailies, or starfighter for that matter. There are none. The first achievements that seem to be granting us any sort of stronghold decorations come out of flashpoints, and the flashpoints are pretty in-depth. You get one for story mode and you get one for hard mode. It looks like, if I'm looking at this right, you don't get a decoration until you've beaten a hard mode flashpoint 25 times. And that's for beating every single boss in that hard mode flashpoint 25 times. Flip side of it is that you only need to beat 1 boss, it looks like. Yeah, you just need to full clear for story mode to get the initial decoration for flashpoints. So you're going to be getting a lot of flashpoint decorations. That way, hard modes are going to be a real grind. That's what it is. Under general, I don't see anything. That's fine. You go into operations for story mode or nightmare mode, and it looks like every single boss for story mode, hard mode, nightmare mode is going to give you it does give you an achievement. It also gives you a decoration that ties into that achievement. Now, I understand that the way that it works is that for the achievements, because they are legacy-wide, you will only be able to get 1 unlock to place as a decoration for that location. And that's fine. I understand that. And it's nice that they're giving us something for story mode, hard mode, and nightmare mode. It's a little disappointing that for all of these things, for the flashpoints and the operations, you're getting wall decorations. That's it. You're not getting a single thing to place in your stronghold. Also, it doesn't look like the traditional original space achievements, any of the events achievements, companion achievements, or player versus player achievements. Nothing contributes to the strongholds except for flashpoint and operations. Now, I'm really hoping that perhaps this is just a beta server, and they've got a lot more in mind, and they haven't implemented. Seems like it would be a bit silly at this point, because they've waited a long time to give us a test server in the first place, and we should be able to test everything out. But, hey, maybe. Again, I'm disappointed because I wanted to be able to have something to put on the floor. Even for PvP, I'm really surprised that they 100% neglected PvP in this way. Now, granted, there are going to be vendors where you can spend credits, or comms, Warzone comms, fleet comms, whatever you want. There's all sorts of different ways to purchase different things for your stronghold. But really, this is a pretty wimpy implementation of achievement rewards into your galactic stronghold. Again, that being said, I'm glad that they gave us something. To date, all we've been dealing with is some form of currency reward, fleet wreck, shipwreck, or cartel coins, or else a title. And that's really been the only thing that you get to take into the game. We've been looking for, hey, why not a unique mount or something? Why not something that really indicates, okay, you're a beast master? Give me a beast mount. Give me one of those fractals that's got a unique skin, and that's, you've killed every type of beast in the world. Or the Datacron Master thing really does trip me out, but hey, we already covered that. So let's get into what the achievements are that comes with Strongholds. There's a brand new tab. I didn't see anything anywhere else under any of the pre-existing tabs. But underneath your achievements, there is now a Strongholds tab. Under Strongholds, that's broken down into two: Strongholds and Conquests, which we don't have access to yet. I think that's supposed to be coming to us next week, and I'm looking forward to that. But under the Strongholds, there's a general Strongholds, and basically, if you can get your Stronghold completion percentage, any of your Stronghold completion percentages, to 100%, you're going to get 4 different achievements. You get a personal prestige score of 100,000 or more. You're going to get 5 different achievements. So, and that's the other thing. I was a bit disappointed. It turns out because I've been so focused on doing achievements, especially location, planetary achievements, I'm at 73% on that. For my legacy, I'm at 89%. But when it comes to operations, I'm 31%, and flashpoints, I'm 26%. Now, those people that have been doing the bleeding, cutting-edge operations, that, less than 1%, it's like the 0.5% that have full cleared everything out in the game right now, they're going to be getting a lot for operations anyway. They're going to be getting a much higher prestige score. In fact, if I open up my prestige window, my current personal prestige is 20,628. I did talk to Maybe Buzz, and she was 22,000 something or another. Her achievement score was somewhere around 10,000, I believe, so less than half of what mine is. But she's got a significantly larger prestige score that she's working with, which means she's got that many more decorations to work with. And that's coming significantly from the fact that she's doing the right kind of achievements, as opposed to me, who's doing all of them. I mean, I'm 99% done with space, the traditional space achievements. There's one I haven't gotten because it's been bugged and they've never fixed it. I'd be 100% otherwise. But I'm not going to have anything in my house to show for that. Anyway, 100,000 prestige score, which means that you're going to be able to, for the first time, legitimately buy achievements. Achievement points off the cartel market. As far as I can tell from within the achievement panel, there is no way for you to get a prestige score without spending currency for it. I guess perhaps that doesn't mean cartel coin, but if you can use your cartel coins to get a bunch of actual credits in order to buy as many things as you can from the crafters and whatever else, I mean, this is definitely a way to buy your way onto the board for prestige. No questions asked. Hey, but it is what it is. I was also able to get over 60%. I think I'm at 63% complete for one of my houses, and all I did was take one of each item that I had available to me. For the walls, the floors, the ceilings, and for every single type of hook size, and I placed it down. I didn't put duplicates down, at least not on purpose. I don't think I did, and I got 63% completed. And that was 2.5 rooms and a hallway. So clearly, there's a lot more than those 300 hooks. It seems to me that they're giving you a goal of items to put down, but you don't actually have to clutter up your apartment to get that 100%. 100% is actually going to be a very reasonable number, and then you're going to have lots and lots and lots of space left to put duplicates down. Say you want 4 chairs that match around a table. And that's a good thing, I think. It's not a genuine 100% pack rat, as far as I... Moving along. There is also, have at least 50 other people in your stronghold at once. This one I like. So I've actually already gotten one stronghold guest. I haven't been able to determine yet if they have to be... Oh yeah, it is at once. Have them at once. So you're going to have to try and make friends, get guildies, get a large guild group to come jumping around. Somehow throw a party to incentivize a large group of people to come into your stronghold. And that goes from 1 to 5 to 10 to 25 to 50. So that's pretty awesome. For the top end of the 3 categories I've talked about so far, that's 100, 150 achievement points for the highest, along with, whatever it adds up to for those underneath. Decorations collections. There's a bunch of stacking ones for this too. So, unlock gathering nodes. There are 50 crafting decorations. This is pretty neat. Nobody's really been talking about it, but there are decorations that you can get and put down, and I've gotten a few that you can scan them. And in fact, at least if it's not a bug, you don't even have to be the right profession to get in there and scan it. And then it puts a timer on before it respawns. There are 50 different types, and you can put those into your house, scatter them around, and people can come and get materials from them, or you yourself can harvest them on a long cooldown. But that's legit. That's actually really neat. There are also stronghold decorations in the containers category. You need to collect 100 containers. Maybe there aren't 50 different types of the collection crafting decorations. It could be that you could get a whole bunch of duplicates of them. But anyway, they are there. I think I've gotten 3 or 4 different types as it stands. It's really cool. And then there's a bunch of different container types. If you can get 100 of those, you get an achievement. Then there's furniture. Get up to 100 and max out on that. Civic decorations. I've got 12 civic decorations. I'm assuming those are going to be banners and things that hang on the walls for like House Alderaan and stuff like that. Stronghold decorations in the technological category. So, yeah, there's technological stuff. And then also environmental decorations. These would be potted plants and things like this. Pretty designs for the environment that help you out. That's going to max you out on that for all of your decorations under strongholds. And then there are crafting prefabs. You can get industrial prefabs, synthetic prefabs, and universal prefabs. Apparently you need to craft them. If you craft each of those 3 types 100 times, you're going to get more. And each of those actually comes with titles, which is really nice. None of the others have titles attached to them. So you can actually become a master artisan, a master innovator, or a master builder. And then for the second half, this is conquests. We don't know what conquests are about. I'm really excited about this, though. Completing events are going to get you achievements. Apparently once, reach your personal conquest point target to complete this conquest event. You know what? I'm actually looking through these. They all say exactly the same thing. So these are conquest events. They've got different titles, though. Clash in Hyperspace, Death Mark, Emergency Operations, The Dread War, Titans of Industry, Total Galactic War. Looks like these are all one-offs for all the different planets or locations or event types. If you participate and get to a certain point, you're going to get an achievement for it. Then there's Planet Conquering. You're going to get a title if you conquer every single planet, and you will be a Galaxy Conqueror. You can craft war supplies, which I don't think we've really talked about that. Crafting war supplies is actually going to facilitate you with some more achievements. Craft 10, you get 25. Craft 50, you get a title, Dark Project Masterem. Maestrum? M-A-S-T-E-R-M. Gives you that title, Craft 50 Dark Projects and 50 achievement points, which is great. Craft Invasion Force, which is war supplies. Do that 50 times, you're going to get another title, the Unstoppable Force or Invasion Force. The Unstoppable Force. And the last string of achievements here, you craft 50 Holocrons of Strategy, or Infantry Supply Kits, or Armored Vehicles, or Starship Weapons, or Crystal Capacitors. These are all under the classification War Supplies. All of these are under War Supplies. So apparently there's going to be crafting involved with contributing to the war effort for these conquest events, and there's going to be achievements tied into that. So that's legit. We don't really learn much more about what it means to be a part of these conquering events otherwise. Very, very interesting. Kind of happy about that. At any rate, that looks like I've got another Q pop and we're done with this section. And with that, it's time for the Wall of Crazy.
What? That's impossible, even for a computer. It's not impossible. I used to bullseye Womper Rats in my T-16 back home. They're not much bigger than 2 meters.
So this week's question was, what do you want from guild conquests, guild capital ships, or strongholds that hasn't been discussed yet? First response was Road. He's from ToroCast. And he wants GSF PvP battles with guild ship support 50 versus 50. Now that is a wall of crazy. Man, don't we all want it? And actually what's funny is along the lines of that, Viz of Mog Nation would like to say he wants to jump in, hop on a turret, and shoot down enemy fighters, or get in a transport and board enemy ships. How excellent would that be? How excellent would it be if we could actually expand not only representation, and do remember that initially they said guild flagships will not be PvP flagships at launch. Sounds like that's not totally impossible. And honestly, it would be legit awesome to be able to incorporate some kind of blended experience of, if not just GSF and the ground game, perhaps GSF and a static guild ship game, something where you can man different positions of a larger ship working in conjunction with guildies. Hey, if you queue up as a 4-man, you don't get to fly independently. Now you're going to be on a, cargo ship like the Millennium Falcon, and there's 2 turrets to man, and there's the steering to be done, and, fixing the engine to be done. Who knows? But it would be really, really cool to be able to have some kind of team-oriented on the same ship in a combat environment. I think that would be really, really neat. Gamer Lady, at gamer_lady, she says that she wants a geir teleporter that lets her summon someone to the stronghold. It'd be pretty interesting to actually have object that represents itself within your stronghold like a geir teleporter that's functional that way. Of course, we already know now that we've seen the new live streams and been able to get on the test server that issuing that key, you don't actually hand a key to somebody. It's just a list. You put their name in, they get a notification, hey, would you like a key? And they get it. And then, no matter what, they can get to your, it works as the teleporter at that point to your stronghold. I did notice, actually, though, when I went into the Manon Flashpoint, following having been in my stronghold, replace the previous location, absolutely put me back at the departures on the fleet. Was not back in my stronghold. I'm assuming that's a bug. We definitely reported that. Who ? At Dave O _New Wave O actually had a pretty interesting idea. I like this one. I want acid traps and pools that work, fire traps, and grappling hook destinations. You see where I'm going with this, right? This is the kind of thinking I really like. These are objects and mechanics that we've already seen in the game, and yeah, this would be great for creating an arena-style location and make it a big purple square that could be put out on that landing pad, and you could make your landing pad an arena instead. I think that would be really awesome. I really, really like that idea. Lastly, at DXUN54 tweets, Conquest should be all about world PvP. Having those massive battles on Hoth, etc., etc. Hashtag wall of never gonna happen. Fortunately, I think it's true. Having any kind of world event or open world PvP for the sole sake of being open world PvP, BioWare hasn't been able to make that happen. They abandoned that notion on Ilum. I think there are definitely server limitations. We're gonna have to have sharded and limitations to how many people are on a shard, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. However, I do really, really hope, even with PvE-oriented object goals on a PvP server, you should be able to generate open world PvP. I'm really hoping that these Conquest PvE-oriented goals are in a densely concentrated location. Maybe not densely populated. I can understand, especially on the low levels, like Nar Shaddaa, Tatooine, Alderaan. These are much lower level areas, and presumably you're going to want to be really involved with your higher level characters as a guild to do these Conquest events. And maybe those lowbies can participate as well, but less effectively, particularly on a PvP server. But I'm really hoping that we're all working together in, a cross-faction in the same zone, like Oricon. I really would like to see an implementation like Oricon where natural, organic, open-world PvP results, even as a means of, okay, you've got to run and grab this object and then take it back to this location. Maybe somebody comes along and kills you, and you don't have to drop it. You still get to keep it in your bag, but you have to respawn and work your way there again. You get slowed down, or you're trying to get to that location and you get ganked. Like open world PvP, there's a lot of opportunities here, and I hope they don't shy away from it. I hope they don't make it just like our class stories, where we never see another single solitary soul of the opposing faction virtually the entire leveling experience from start to finish, because they are so terrified of the fact that people might kill one another on a server that they've chosen to have that ability on a PvP server. Please let me face roll some people. Tell me what you think. Better yet, let GTG know. Because that's the end of my wall of crazy. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed having me as a guest on the show this week. Let GTG know, but if you'd like to get a hold of me at any time, you can always listen to me on UtiniCast, We record live on Wednesdays at 4:30 PST, that's 7:30 EST. And you can watch us live and join the chat room at utinicast.com/live. That's OOTINICAST.com/live. You can always watch me on my Twitch stream. That's twitch.tv/R3DN4. You can also tweet me at R3DN4. You can even email me if you like. That's R3DN4@yahoo.com. As always, if you'd like to contact JD, you can send your questions, comments, and concerns to gaddickteague@gaddickgaming.com or tweet him at gteague on Twitter. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes to get weekly podcast updates. If you're new to the game or thinking about resubscribing, GTeague has offered his refer a friend link in the show notes. So if you'd like a little added incentive to come back, feel free to use it. You can also check out his website, gaddickgaming.com, where he posts the podcast, his blogs, and other gaming content he happens to release. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Unnamed SWTOR podcast. This is Redna, signing off.